some of the games that are going on back and forth. We have Senator Jeff Merkley, the Democrat from Oregon, who has already said, in fact, before he even knew who Donald Trump's choice was going to be for the Supreme Court, that he was going to mount a filibuster as payback to the way Republicans blocked Merrick Garland. Separately, we're hearing that a number of Democrats are linking their support to Neil Gorsuch to rolling back and seeing that Gorsuch would be in favor of rolling back the so-called travel ban delay, whatever you want to call it. And still other Democrats who, when it comes to some of Donald Trump's cabinet picks, including Tom Price to head Health and Human Services and Steve Mnuchin to head Treasury, they don't even go to the committee meeting. In other words, when each respective committee goes to have a vote, they don't even show up for the vote, hoping to sort of get the process entangled and delayed. Republicans went ahead and voted presumably without them, and now both of those nominations, Price's and Mnuchin's, are going to be up for the full Senate, but they can be delayed there for a lot of these Byzantine parliamentary maneuvers. Many Democrats say it's tit for tat to what Republicans did to them. I can't keep score of this, but Andrew Stein, the former New York City Council president, big Democrat in his own right, he's saying it's got to stop. Andrew, good to have you back. But
Thanks,
it's not
Neil.
stopping. If anything, it's escalating. What do you make of this?
Well, I think the Democrats are making a big mistake. I think people elected Donald Trump because they wanted to break the gridlock in Washington. They wanted to drain the swamp, and they wanted to get things done. They wanted to create jobs. And I think that by being so obstructionist, remember, there are, I think, 18 Democrats up for re-election to the Senate. And I think people are going to take it out on them if they obstruct President Trump's programs. He wants to create jobs, and he wants to move the country forward. If in 6 months they don't like what he does, then that's one thing. But just to obstruct, Neil, I predict there's going to be a big backlash against the Democratic Party.
You talk about those 18. 10 of them are from states that Donald Trump won handily in the last election. But saying all of that, now, I can understand this, vengeance grows not exactly slight in time. And a lot of them are saying Republicans did this to them when they were in power. And there's a good deal of truth back and forth on this. But someone's got to stand up and say, all right, we've been acting like children. Let's go forward here. But they don't. So where is this going? Because it looks like it's going to be a repeat of what President Obama went through in his administration and George Bush before that in his administration. This kumbaya on the Hill, which I guess would have to date back to the days of Ronald Reagan, is not here now.
Well, the nice thing about Reagan and Tip O'Neill had a great personal relationship. True. And they got together and they moved things forward. Look, Donald Trump means what he says, and I think the Democrats have emotionally not come to terms with Donald Trump winning the election. So I would say, look, get over it. He won the election. The country wants to move forward and wants people to create jobs, to keep us safe. And I think the Democrats are going to get a huge backlash if they continue behaving this way. I mean, not to even go to the meetings and sort of boycott them, the Trump cabinet choices are up, I think is immature and will backfire. And I hate to see that happen to the Democrats, but that's where it's going.
You know, you're a Democrat, and the rap against the party now, it's the hard left calling the tune and the shots here. And that Democrats are very aware of that. And moderate or accommodated Democrats are feeling that wrath. I think Senator Manchin of West Virginia was just sort of acknowledging that a few minutes ago. But that can be harmful to the party longer term, can it?
Well, I think that's the problem. The base, the activist base, is so freaked out over Donald winning the election that they scare the sort of more moderate Democrats. I mean, you know, Chuck Schumer and some of the people like Manchin are not that far to the left, but I think they're afraid of the far left. And I think they have to show some spunk and do what's right. And listen, Donald Trump won the election, and the Democrats have to, I think, will be judged whether they work with him to create jobs, disagree with him when they do, but move ahead and do what's right for the country, because I think that if they're too intimidated by the far left, the average voter, I mean, look, Donald Trump won Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, all the countries in the Rust Belt because the Democrats were not listening to what they were saying, and Hillary never even went to Wisconsin. And those sort of average people don't get are not as exercised. They're not out at the airports demonstrating. And I think that Donald did the right thing with the vetting, the President Trump did, because we have to keep our country safe.
Let me ask you real quickly while you're here, Andrew. I know getting my producer contortions here, but as a former New York City Council president, you have Mayor de Blasio this week looking at a mansion tax in New York to pay for programs that would benefit the poor. You have Governor Cuomo in New York State talking about a wider and staggered millionaires tax that would affect actually many more than just millionaires. But the push here is in going after the rich. That's a consistent theme and a hard left turn on the part of people who are already considered pretty left. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't think it works, Neil. I mean, New York is already has problems keeping businesses and keeping people here. More of the rich people who pay the taxes are moving to Florida, establishing residence here in other states that aren't so highly taxed. So I think that if they do that, we'll just lose more business and more of our tax base. I think it's a mistake.
Andrew Stein, great seeing you again.
Thank you, Neil.